I grew up on a small farm and just above Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and ended up in Montana. So I'm a retired human resource recruitment manager for faculty and staff. Um, my grandmother lived with us growing up, so she knit and crocheted and hand embroidery. So there were, well, at the time, four of us girls, and then I have a sister that's 20 years younger than I am. So wasn't alive when my grandmother was there with us. But we all kind of picked all that up. And then my mom was a sewist, so I picked that up. She never was a quilter, but my love of fiber kind of led me into, getting into quilting and now into art quilting and I think I just enjoy art as well. So I do all kinds of sewing. I mean, I do the art quilts, I do quilts, I do garments, anything when a sewing machine. I love to upcycle garments and like even my scraps. I save even the tiniest scrap and make it into something else. So we're right in a transition. We sold our house. We're getting ready to move into a retirement community. I had a huge studio. I took over the whole family media spot and den. Um, I have, let's see, four machines. So I have a long arm, I've got two sewing machines, I have a serger, I also have a small featherweight that's 1954. I actually use that when we're traveling because we spend the winters in San Diego and I need something for small spaces. So I actually use that a lot. And in fact, that's what I'm using right now. And that's kind of where it led me into making the piece that I submitted was I was having a little bit of trouble with the stitching and I thought, okay, let me just do hand embroidery because I really enjoy it. So it has a little bit of machine, but most of it's hand. So, and I just always, I don't know, I did always have stuff around me like paints and all kinds of stuff. And I say that I had to get rid of a lot of stuff, but I say I kept it because I had the space and I would use it eventually. What it looks like for me is often I have, and in fact, I made this remark to a friend of mine the other day, is I need to get some of these ideas on paper before my head bursts, before my brain goes. And so that's kind of what happens. I see something and then I think, oh, I could do that in fabric or thread or whatever. And then I need to get it on paper. So a lot of times we'll sketch it out. It doesn't mean that it's going to look like that when I'm done, but I get the idea out on paper. My greatest challenge is getting those ideas out of my brain and onto paper or onto fabric. Because it seems like even whether I'm doing an art quilt or I'm doing a garment, I can see that whole thing made, out of the fabric that I've chosen and that, but it's getting that idea out. And then sometimes what I do is I just start sketching it. Or the other thing I do is often I'll lay out some fabric and just lay out pieces of fabric here and there and say, oh, wow, those look really great together. And then it kind of comes together from that. I love flowers, but I'm going to put it this way. I grew up on a farm, but I am not a farmer and I'm not a gardener. But I just love beautiful flower gardens. So I often take tons of pictures of flowers. So they just really speak to me and they're just in the color. I'm a person that's really into color, and I say if for color, life is too short not to have colors. So I often use a lot of bright colors and that. So when I was thinking about it, I thought, oh, I'm going to try embroidering some of these pieces of fabric and put them together into a piece. And I got about three-quarters of the way through, and I thought, I'm not sure where to go. So I took a photo of it, and I really enjoy. I'm so glad we have technology now because then I could just kind of draw in and say, okay, I think I could put this here and that there, and we'll do this. And sometimes it was like looking at flowers. Sometimes it was like looking at a magazine or looking on the internet and saying, oh, I like that idea, but then it kind of morphs into my idea. It gives me confidence to keep going and submitting pieces of art. I was thrilled when I got in and I got into the last one too. So it increases that confidence and like gives me inspiration to keep going. I feel like it's
That's
an honor to be in there too. So I've always been a person where I love to share my passion and art and fiber, and that is my passion. And I love to share it with people. And what I hope is that somebody would say, oh, I could do that. And I normally would say, take one step at a time because often people will say to me, oh, that is beautiful. And I'll say, oh, it was easy. And they'll look at me with their mouth open, and I'm saying, no, it's one step at a time, and you just keep adding to it. So, and then the other side of it is I like people to draw from it to say that there is joy no matter what's going on in our environment or our world today, that you can have some really nice, beautiful things to look at. So. It is my creative outlet. Also, that's where I find, like, if I am a little stressed or, things going on, that kind of gives me the peace um, to create. I feel like that's kind of basically my relaxation.